speaker. So our next amazing speaker is Courtney. Courtney, and she's already here. Awesome. Courtney, come on to the stage while I'll introduce you to our amazing audience. So Courtney is a creator of Mariposa Sacred Sexuality and the 4-step glow system. She specializes in helping women who are really highly sexual, highly sensitive, and highly spiritual to light their sexual fire and embody their glow. So before I unleash you, first of all, so great to see you.
It's so great to see you, Anna. I'm so happy to be here.
Before I unleash you to our audience, I wanted to just frame why I'm so excited about this conversation with you. Because we are in these physical bodies, and I said it when we were setting up the sacred space, we want to be in other dimensions. We love connecting with the non-physical. Yet here we are in our physical experience, having a physical experience with certain attributes like sexuality, which is such a potent energy. So I wanted you to, first of all, your hair looks amazing. Second of all,
Thank you.
I'm partial to short blonde hair. Second of all,
I love your hair.
Yeah, thanks. Let's talk about the and wherever it goes, I'm perfectly welcome. But just the importance and the gift of our sexual energy in preparing for being the channel for what we are here to bring in through our bodies.
Absolutely. And we cannot be a divine channel unless we work with our sexual energy. Because if you think about it, our genitals are at the root chakra, and our sexual fire, which is the term I use for sexual energy, our sexual fire, the foundation of it is at our root chakra. And then it moves up into our sacral chakra. And most people, that's where it stays, unfortunately, because the sexual fire or sexual energy is dormant or dull or not burning brightly. And what I noticed in my own spiritual journey was that I was talking to angels and doing intuitive readings. But interestingly for me, at the same time I was opening my intuitive channel, I was having these amazing, mind-blowing, earth-shattering sexual experiences with a lover who just blew me away. So for me, the way I actually opened my intuitive channel was a combination of working with my sexual fire in those lower chakras and connecting into the higher realms, communicating with the angels and the divine and my higher self and so on. And what I found over time is that the more I worked with the lower chakras and then learned how to channel that energy up my body, up to the solar plexus, up to my heart. And the most important connection actually is from the root to the heart, to connect our sacred genitals to our heart space, and then moving up through the body. So the sexual fire ideally moves from the root all the way up to our third eye, to our crown chakra, all the way into our higher chakras, and then out into the whole energy field. And I call it glow. When our sexual fire is burning brightly and glowing through our whole body and our energy field, then we glow with the essence of our soul. Because our sexual energy or sexual fire, it is our soul essence. And we've all been told all of these mistruths or even lies around sexuality, that somehow it should be repressed or our sexual energy is dangerous. And I won't get into that because we've probably all had enough of those negative messages right in our lives around sex. And the reality is that our spirituality and our sexuality are so intertwined that they can't be separated. They coexist, they're intermingled. And our sexual energy is our life force. It's our creation power. It's our ability to create what we want in our lives. It's our ability to fulfill our purpose, to make a difference in the world. And our sexual energy is our soul essence flowing through our physical body. So we talk all the time, right, about let's listen to our intuition. Let's listen to our higher self or soul. But you can't access the wisdom of your higher self or soul if you're not also accessing and working with consciously your sexual fire.
Yeah, this is so great. Kasha already said, now that makes sense. And Grace Morgan said, yes, girl, I can totally relate to this. So glad to be here live. You know, this is so great. So when we were setting up sacred space, that's usually how I connect with the sacredness of where we are. It's connecting with the below, which I go to the earth, right? And pull up the energy and then connect with the divine. And this is just so juicy. And I wish every single person who is here right now, whether you have a partner or not, right? Because I know we always like, well, what if I don't have a partner? It's not about that. It's about
that.
right? It's about using the energy and awakening it in you so you can ground in it so you can then be connected to the intuition. I think that is going to, if you've ever heard this before but never try it, I say this is your invitation.
Absolutely. Exactly. And no partner required. That's another mistruth that we've all been taught because of the lack of education around sex, or even the sacredness of sexual energy. Most people think of sex as something we do with someone else. But having sex with someone else is one out of over 1 million things that we can do with our sexual energy. It's our energy. It's not about anyone else. If you want, you can share your sexual energy with someone, and you can create something together with them, like creating a pleasurable experience or love or creating a baby. There's all kinds of things you can do, but this is your energy, and you have a right to your own body. You have a right to your own pleasure. You have a right to your own sexual fire. And you also have a right to learn how to utilize your sexual fire to create what you want. And another thing that's so important with this is that our sexual fire, it's almost like our own internal energy system, or our own internal battery. So I said it's our life force, but most of us walk around in the world overworked and under pleasured. We're stressed and we're not glowing and full of vibrant joy and happiness and health and life. And so when we work with our sexual energy, and I'll give you some tips on how to do it. When we work with it, it's about really charging our own batteries. Like when we, kind of increase our glow step by step, so that we're fully charged up and glowing. And then when we do that, it opens up 5 glow channels within our bodies. And the glow channels are confidence. So our sexual fire is deeply intertwined, connected with our confidence, with our intuition, crystal clear intuition. And all 5 glow channels start with the letter C. It also is connected to our sense of connection, our connection to our own body, to our higher self, to the divine, connection to others, to a partner, if we have one, friends, family, clients, and so on. And then also our creation power. That's another glow channel, our ability to create and manifest whatever we want. And it goes back to creation, because a lot of people talk about manifestation, right? Manifest money, manifest opportunities. A manifestation is the physical representation of what we're creating, but we create it first in spirit, then manifest it into physical reality. So we've got to get into our creation power, and our sexual energy. If it has the ability to create a baby, to create life, it has the ability to create lots more things, like opportunities. Or the first time I ever even discovered this, I created a book, and that it was a fascinating journey, because I was in the middle of writing my first book. This was 12 years ago now. And I spent a year just sitting at my computer and writing and writing. It was healing and a wonderful, important process, but it was a slow process. And that's when, this amazing lover stepped into my life, and I actually had my own sacred sexual initiation. And I started realizing this is not just about the pleasure that I'm experiencing in the bedroom. I was feeling more confident. I was teaching with more confidence. And then when I sat down to write my book, the downloads were just pouring in, and I created a whole 3rd version of the book, a whole new draft that I wrote in the span of a couple of months, and it just flowed. Everything flowed. So it's just magical. So, and before I pause, I'll just share the 5th glow channel is celebration, which is kind of a way I say joy, but it's not just joy. It's this sense of let's celebrate life. And these 5 glow channels are the channels through which everything flows. Money, abundance, opportunities, our connections with others. And really, these 5 channels are needed in order for us to fulfill our purpose, especially, listening to our intuition, connecting with the people we're meant to help, celebrating life, and also showing up with confidence so we can share our gifts and shine brightly in the world.
This is so amazing. And I know we don't want to go too deeply into it, and I'm not inviting us to, but I mean, it's so, the fact that sexuality has been so hidden, I don't want to use certain words, but vandalized and has been used against us. I mean, that's the indication alone to say there's got to be magic in it, because that's why somebody would not want us to be in our sexual power or use our sexual power, and it would make it wrong or bad or punishable, right? Anybody who grew up in a Catholic religion, hello, right?
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And there's been so much fear around it too.
Yeah.
So much fear. Yep.
Yeah. And so much healing. So Ida asked, feels like my sexuality is still tied to early sexual abuse. How do I feel free from that or work with it in a healing way? Do you have any quick?
Yeah, absolutely. If for those who have sexual abuse, because there are many, many, many people, you're definitely not alone, I would definitely seek help. And I would say, even in traditional means like therapy, EMDR, especially eye movement, desensitization, and repatterning. EMDR is my very favorite modality for healing sexual abuse. And then there's also other trauma modalities. So I would say spiritual tools, as well as some of these traditional tools, like a really good therapist, especially a therapist who's trained in EMDR. And then also the most important thing is to connect with your body and learn that it's okay, that your body is okay and safe, create that safety in the body, and just spend time touching your body. Like right now, I'm putting one hand on my heart and one hand literally over my root chakra or sacred genitals, whatever, however you want to. I know we all have a different name for our genitals. So I would suggest spending time every single day, just being present here. Hand on your heart, hand on your sacred genitals, and just feel a sense of love, connection, fill yourself with love. You can even imagine light shining within your sacred cave, because our sacred caves are glorious and beautiful and already filled with light and joy and healing energy. And then you can also imagine light shining in your heart. And then I call this the glow light switch, where then you imagine light shining so brightly from your sacred cave and your heart that those lights start basically kind of melting
Emanating
together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And if that's too much, then do one hand on your heart, one hand on your lower stomach.
Yeah. So beautiful, connecting with it. And that doesn't take a sexual interaction. That literally is connecting with your body and giving reverence and awareness to the energy that's flowing through, and not just being disconnected. I always, because I'm a Taurus, now we know this is how we started. I'm very practical, right? And I'm also 12th house and 11th house. I have stuff going on. So I'm also a healer, and I travel through dimensions, and I love all that stuff. Okay. Hello, here we are, right? Talking about New Earth. But the practicality is what grounds us in the physical being, right? So taking everything that we have just discovered. So we started with Suzanne, right? And astrology and connecting with the stars, and then bringing it down into our body and allowing the energy to do the work. I'm reminded of a story way before I knew anything. I worked with a coach who was writing a book, and she couldn't come up with a name. It was a book and her business name. And her coach said, go and masturbate until you come up with it. And she did. She said she did it we don't have to go into details, but in one moment, it just rushed through her body, and it came out of her mouth. And the business still exists, and it's actually quite popular. I won't tell you who it is. Doesn't matter. But that's how she came up with the name for her business and the title for her book.
Absolutely. Yes. During sexual pleasure, whether it's by yourself or with a partner, during sexual pleasure is one of the best times to receive intuitive guidance,
Yeah.
divine downloads, because our sexual energy is the highest frequency that we can possibly experience when we're on planet Earth. That's why when people are orgasming, they often say, "Oh God, oh God."
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like we're connecting
Mm-hmm.
directly with that energy of God, source, spirit, universe, the divine, love,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you call it. And our higher selves. It's like a complete merging of mind, body, and soul. And actually, that's when our conscious mind and our ego kind of take a back seat, and our soul gets to really fly and spread its wings. But anyhow, yes, exactly. Heightened state of sexual pleasure
Mm-hmm.
is the best time to ask questions and receive answers.
So great, Courtney. You just said something. I want to pull it forward. In the moment of heightened experience, heightened pleasure, in whatever way it comes around, right? Whether it comes to a sexual activity or just really deeply connecting with your body in whatever way, your ego stands aside, your mind stands aside. And that's why a lot of people can't get into the state, because they are so much in their mind. So,
Yes.
right? So connecting to the body, connecting to that energy in the moment, it takes all that ego, all that mind chatter out of the picture, and you are truly connected to who you are, which is the soul.
Exactly right. To who we are, which is the soul, which is our sexual energy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yes. And exactly. And that's why too, sometimes when I share this, people say, yeah, that sounds good, but they can't quite fathom how to even just get into the sexual pleasure, because we've got so many hangups around it. Like stress lowers our libido. And of course, stress really puts us in a state of fear and a lower vibration. Body image issues also lower our interest in sex and make us self-conscious and more in our mind rather than just relaxing and enjoying the experience. That's why I really do recommend self-pleasure, masturbation, self-pleasure, whatever words you want to use. I recommend that for everyone, hands down, whether you have a partner or not, because it's your sexual energy, and it's I feel like it's each of our responsibility to actually know how our sexual energy works and fill ourselves with this glow. And then, like I said, we can share it with a partner if we want, but it's really more about our own journey with our sexual energy first and foremost. So getting to know our bodies, getting to know what brings us pleasure through our own sensual touch, and just experimenting, because your solo self pleasure time, it's like a playground. It's like, a divine playground or an intuitive playground where you get to experiment and try different things. And it can be a beautiful meditative experience as well. So that's a great way to start, is with that glow light switch, just with the touch, and imagining the light shining in your heart and shining in your sacred genitals and connecting the heart and the genitals. And then also just playing with some sexual self-pleasure, and then playing with, what if you do ask a question during sexual self-pleasure? Does the answer come then? Or maybe it's helping to clear your channels, clear all your chakras, and the answer will come later. Yeah. Absolutely.
Can you imagine the world, Courtney? Let's imagine all together, to whatever degree you're willing to. Let's say you're building a business, a new earth business that's going to bring forth something, a technology, a solution for humanity. And instead of slaving over a computer, or instead of slaving over the documents or whatever it is that you do, trying to figure it out, stressing over, you actually give yourself some time to maybe, put everything on paper. And then instead of spending 2-3 hours doing whatever you think you should be doing, you go and spend 2-3 hours working on discovering your levels of pleasure, new levels of pleasure. Then you come back and in 15 minutes, you have it all laid out. Everything pours onto paper.
Yes. Brilliant. That's exactly how it works. You're so brilliant, Anna.
Practical aspect. How do we apply it?
That is exactly right. And that's why we must prioritize pleasure and not prioritize productivity, because through pleasure, we become more productive. And then we receive those $1,000,000 ideas. And yes, exactly, the innovative technologies that can completely help us with building, creating the new earth.
Yeah, so great. So many people are commenting that they're really enjoying this conversation. I'm glad. We're pushing the boundaries. I mean, you come to talk about New Earth and we're talking about sexual pleasure, but it is part of our owning the humanity and the power that it is to be a human. And somebody asked, Grace says, I think it was Grace. Somebody said that somebody else, how did it come to become such a no? Elaine said, so how did humans get these two levels so messed up or absolutely no-nos?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it super brief. I mean, the super brief answer, I think, was one, a misinterpretation of sexual energy, especially from Judeo-Christian religious
Yeah.
leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And also, so a misinterpretation of fear of it. And then also, I do believe there has been some tampering and actually trying to dampen humanity by not wanting humans to
Yep.
know how powerful they are. Just that
Yes.
sense of some people would like to
Mm-hmm.
be in control and would like everyone else to kind of be the followers. And I mean, I won't go down a rabbit hole of all of that, but
We
one just
could though.
really, we could, yes. One really interesting thing I did a lot of research around was Saint Augustine, who basically he was the original or I should say a big proponent of the idea of original sin. The idea of original sin is that we were all born sinful and bad because Adam and Eve
Mm-hmm.
sinned in the Garden of Eden. So there was a Catholic teaching, Christian teaching that basically taught people that they are bad. And also the teaching went so deep as to say that that sex should only be had between a man and a woman and only for the purposes of creating a baby.
Yeah.
So Saint Augustine said that actually sexual pleasure was evil and very bad, but it could be excused for the purpose of having a baby.
Yeah.
And so it was a pretty extreme teaching. And he had gone through a deep heartbreak and loss of his partner and his son. And it's a long story. I won't get to all the details, but my interpretation and very strong knowing is that he was in turmoil. He was in love. He went through heartbreak. He didn't know, he was highly sexual. He didn't know what to do with all that sexual energy. So the way he dealt with it was to say, sex is bad, and everyone needs to think this is evil and bad. And all these other people, of course, said, yeah, this all makes sense. Let's make it bad. So that was just one example of kind of why humanity went down this dark hole of
yeah. That's such a great, I mean, we know there are great leaders in the world not so long ago that did terrible things and everybody jumped on board because they did, right? Like somebody was so powerful. So can we talk about something? Because you just said, all right, we have a few more minutes, but I really want to talk about it because you work with highly sexual women. And this was my first time I ever heard of this was when I read Think and Grow Rich, like almost 2 decades ago. And there is a whole chapter about sexual transmutation. Because of when the book was written, it was about men. I want you to completely dispel this for me, because it's true about women too. Your sexuality and your high sexuality is completely related to how powerful you are.
Yes, it's completely related to how powerful you are and your ability to create the success and the money and the fulfillment and life purpose, everything that you want. So exactly, Napoleon Hill, the author of Think and Grow Rich, bless his heart, because back in 1937, almost 100 years ago, he was talking about this connection between our sexual energy and our ability to create wealth. I mean, that's mind-blowing, right? And so many people have read this book, and yet the book did not say how it works or how to do it. And so the book I'm working on actually is going to say how to do it, how to create wealth and fulfill your purpose. Yeah, I'm so excited. So specifically for women, money, sexual fire, all of these coming together. But exactly, it's all very, very connected.
Yeah, so amazing. And the men still have it. It's just that the part that I wanted to confirm and affirm is that women have it too. It's just that the book wasn't written for women because of the time. So this is,
exactly. And if you think about it too, as women, our bodies give birth or have the ability to give birth. I'm not a mother, so I haven't actually done that physically, but our bodies, we are the givers of life, and we are channels. Our bodies as women, we are channels for life. We are channels for abundance. We are channels for divine ideas, for love, for joy, for fulfilling our purpose. And so it's really about just honoring our bodies, right? And honoring who we really are, and it's okay to be highly sexual. And my theory very strongly is that since sexuality has been so repressed on the planet, I think the majority of women are naturally highly sexual, and naturally highly abundant and thus meant to be highly paid. But it's all been so repressed that we've got to return to our own nature and reconnect with our sexual fire, and also reconnect with how incredibly abundant and sparkly and magical and amazing we are.
So great. Kasha actually said she thinks of money when she is in her sexually heightened energy. Same here, girl. Same here. I do the same thing.
I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely part of my manifesting routine ritual, is that I include that energy in creation. So great. There are a couple of questions that I want to see if we can answer really quickly. Kasha is laughing. Am I saying it right? Anisha? Anisha? Yay! Okay, so awesome. Yeah, which is hurtful to our bodies. It absolutely is. So Sandra asked the question, is this why when I see someone get physically hurt, I feel it in my vagina down to my root chakra?
Yes, absolutely. Yep, exactly why.
Yeah.
Great question. Absolutely. And thank you for sharing that. Yes, I love all your thank you for that share. That was amazing. And everyone commenting, thank you for being so amazing.
Yeah, thank you for your contribution, and thank you for your courage to ask questions. You so beautifully expressed all of this, Courtney. Thank you so much. Time to celebrate our sexuality for what it is, and not for what it is, for what it was squandered and suppressed, because there were forces on planet Earth who knew that we would be too powerful if we actually owned it. So it's time to own it.
Yep, yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
So great. So Courtney, I know you have a free gift. Could you just tell us really quickly what it is so the audience can claim it and get into your world?
Yes, absolutely. The gift is my ebook called Light Your Sexual Fire to create the love and connection you crave. And it goes over my 4-step glow system, and it has a really fun 10-question quiz so you can really tune into how brightly is your sexual fire glowing. And it has a very special free gift at the very end of the ebook. And also, yeah, I hope that you really enjoy it. And if you have questions too, you are welcome to email me. Yeah.
So great. Oh my goodness. Courtney, thank you for being the permission and the voice in the salon, for owning one of the most powerful ways that we can embody who we are and own our power through.
So oh my amazing. Gosh, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you for your openness. I'm so grateful for you. And I also recognize that not everyone wants to have these conversations or is brave and bold and open enough to have these conversations. So thank you, Anna. I'm so grateful. And I feel like I want to say thank you to you on behalf of everyone else that you've opened up this conversation. So thank you for having me.
So great. Awesome. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.